Studio Ghibli. Let's talk about Studio Ghibli. Ghibli. Ghibli's. Ghibli. I watched a good amount of Studio Ghibli for a while. So what do I think about it? What do I think about the movies? There are a couple movies I've seen, about 5. I want to rate them. I want to like rate them from like not best to worst, but like what do I think of them? What do I feel? Stuff like that. And I just want to talk about it. I just want to talk about it because Studio Ghibli, I don't know. Their movies really just feel like, I don't know, they feel like novels. I mean, a lot of their movies just feel like novels sometimes. They're long. They are really, really long. And some of their characters are ugly as hell. Alright, and when you see an ugly character, majority of the time, you know they're up to something. Alright? if they are ugly as hell and they're extremely detailed and majority of the budget is put on that ugly ass character, you know that character is probably the villain. I'm not gonna rate these from A to B, C, D. We're gonna rename these. All right, let's rename S tier to peak. All right, peak. All right, cause some of these films, they are peak. Let me point this out. There are no trash films. None of these films are trash. All right, none of these films are garbage. So I'm not going to name any of these ranks garbage. If any of y'all want to call me a Studio Ghibli glazer, a Ghibble glazer, if you want to call me a Ghibble glazer, yeah, you're right. I am a Ghibble glazer. I do like me some Ghibble. All right, some Ghibli. First one we're calling peak. Second one, let's call this fire. This one's fire because there's fire and then there's peak. There's the pinnacle of Ghibli films. All right, there's personally what I think is fire, and then there's the pinnacle of Ghibli films. All right, and then we have I don't want to say mid. Because mid really just feels like mid really just feels like you're just sharding on them. Let's say chill. Let's say chill. All right, there's peak, there's fire, there's chill, and then we could say mid. And then we could say mid. Alright. This is mid. Alright. And then we could say garbage. Most likely none of them are gonna be in garbage. Alright. None of them are probably gonna be in garbage. Let's talk about these films like they are real films, because they are real films to be taken seriously. Warning, there's gonna be mad spoilers on each movie, and if you don't want those spoilers, go watch the movies before you actually chill here. Yeah. First we got Kiki's delivery service. So how do I feel about Kiki's delivery service? Kiki's delivery service is one of those films that feels like a slow burn to me. All right. It's not really a movie with plot that deep. And personally, I am a guy who likes films that are deep. The film is like, let's see, 1 hour and 43 minutes. The film is like 1 hour 43 minutes. For starters, the film is basically about this witch who basically is 13, and by age 13, that's basically apparently the age of a traditional witch. That's traditionally by age 13 they are able to move out on their own, and basically they're supposed to be, I don't know, the community witch, the communal witch. What up, y'all? It's me, the community witch. I'm here with y'all. I'm forever being with y'all. And Kiki here, this bitch only know how to fly. This girl only know how to fly, bro. She don't really knows that much spells. She doesn't know any spell, actually. She doesn't use any spells throughout the whole movie. That's also why I don't even get invested that much. She does not use a single spell. The only thing that she has that is quirky is the fact that she understands her friend, which is the cat. She understands her cat pretty well. Uh, and that goes to say that she understands a cat. All right, she understands what a cat is saying. Nobody else can understand what a cat is saying. Nobody else can understand what animals are saying. There's this other character who understands, I think, understands what crows are saying. But other than that, her only special thing is that she can fly and that she can speak to this cat. And other than that, though, she basically moves out in this town and starts her own she basically moves to this town and is struggling to find her own place. All right, she's struggling to find her own place to settle. She's struggling to find her own place to settle. And because of that, she doesn't necessarily know where her start is going to be at. And because of that, she eventually finds this bakery. This bakery is basically what starts the entire plot of the movie, which is Kiki's delivery service. She starts an entire delivery service, which is basically the plot of the entire film. She starts the delivery service, and we sort of get these different situations where she's in, like, delivering to different people. There's this sub lore where there's this guy that I'm not quite sure. Yeah, there's this guy that sort of likes her and tries to invite her to a party, and she's sort of like, sort of into it, and but like, personally, like I said, it's one of those, what Studio Ghibli really feels to me is like, some stories could really hit for me, and some stories could just feel like a book, like I'm reading a whole book. Personally, I don't like reading books. All right, I read scripts, I read books because I have to, but I do not enjoy reading books. And this lore is pretty much the type of lore that it's not really deep. It's not deep. And like I said, I like deep stories. I like deep stories with deep impactful meanings. I like deep stories with deep impactful lore, and I like characters with deep backgrounds and stuff like that. This is a girl who only knows how to fly and only knows how to talk to her cat. Oh wait, no, hold on. Let me not just hate on this though. This movie is very wholesome. All right, this movie does not fail to put a smile on my face. All right, let me just let that settle that down. All right. This movie does not fail to put a smile on my face. Okay, so there's this cat. There's this white cat that Kiki's cat Gigi meets, and she's I can't tell if it's a she or a he, but I'm just gonna assume it's a she. She's so stingy, and basically when she sees Gigi, she's basically like turns back on him and like basically giving all the attitude already. And just watching it go down, it just feels, it's comedic. It's great. All right. It's a chill film that really feels enjoyable. It's chill. All right. The whole film feels chill to watch, and not chill in a way that it's boring. Not chill in a way that, oh my gosh, the lore is just feeling like it's being dragged, and it's just being like, just dragged here and there because there's barely any lore. It's Kiki's delivery service. A girl who basically barely knows anything about being a witch, who is starting off as a witch and basically is trying to be out here, find out how to be her own witch, and next thing you know it, she's finding out how to be something else herself. And that's basically the entire story. Just these two idiots just figuring everything out on their own, and they're just having fun doing it. And I just feel like this movie makes us have fun. The situations like the grandma and her trying to I think cook bread and stuff like that. The situation with her trying to avoid that one dude, that was fun to watch. There's just a lot of fun moments here that really just put a smile on my face. And not to mention, like, even though this film to me just felt boring, it does not fail to really feel like a story that is enjoyable. It still feels enjoyable. It's enjoyable to watch. So I'm putting this, with that in mind, with all this yapping in mind, I'm putting this in chill. It's a chill movie. It's a chill movie. Like I said, chill movie. Nothing that deep. Not my type of movie. I like deep movies. I like movies with deep lore, deep everything. But it's not my kind of movie. But even though it's not that kind of movie, it doesn't fail to just put a smile on your face. So if you want just a chill movie that's just fun and enjoyable to watch without any deep lore, with somehow no deep lore whatsoever, and still gives a lead in story, hey, Kiki's Delivery Service, banger. I'm trying to get delivered. On the other hand, though, on the other hand, we got a legit banger here. Howl's Moving Castle. Let me just I'm just gonna put that right there. All right. Let me explain myself now. Take the enjoyment from Kiki's Delivery Service and take the fact that you like deep lore and mash it together. That's Howl's Moving Castle with so much more. I'm talking peak scenery. I'm talking peak character development. I'm talking peak symbolism. I'm talking peak dialogues. I'm talking peak everything, bro. Like, Howl's Moving Castle is just, punch you, bro. I was about to punch you in your face, bro. Sorry. I was about to do something. All right, I was about to do something crazy. Howl's Moving Castle, dude. It is both enjoyable and breathtaking. It is a breathtaking, enjoyable film to watch. The scenery, amazing. The film, amazing. The story itself is amazing. It is okay. Let me just tell you what it's about, y'all. So we basically meet this girl, all right, Sophie. While we meeting this girl, she basically chilling in a world where I think everyone is actually aware of Howl's Moving Castle, and in this world, people are aware of magic, especially because of Howl's Moving Castle that exists around the city. It literally just roams around the city. And because of that, everyone on the planet, I guess, is aware of magic. And eventually, there is this woman that pulls up into her crib and is just like, "Hey, Sophie." Mind you, very ugly, very much detailed. A lot of budget into her appearance, alright? So, red flags are, already showing up for this one. And, there is this woman that just pulls up to her place and just starts blaming her, alright? She just says, "Man, you looking broke as hell. Alright, you looking broke as hell." And then she out here just saying like, "Oh my gosh, this is just like a hat shop, we ain't got nothing much here." And she got mad budget on her, so she just like, "Oh, that's crazy, yo." And before she can do anything else, Sophie here tries to lead her out, alright? She's like, yo, you gotta go, bro. You got too much budget on you, bro. I can't trust you, bro. You gotta go, alright? You, not only that, you look like a drag king, alright? So, you just gotta go, alright? She just like, oh, damn, that's crazy. That's crazy. He's like, you know who you talking to? And then Sophie's like, nope. And then next thing you know it, boom, she turned old, bro. And it's over. And that's how basically the entire lore starts. So, before this, she met Howell, alright? She met Howell. And Howell, I don't know, he was up to some stuff. Alright, I don't know what Howell was up to, but he was up to some stuff. He was doing his own shenanigans. I think he was, I think he actually saved her from getting harassed. So she was actually on her way to do something, and then there was these two guys that came up to her, and she just pulled up, like, they pulled up on her, and, like, they were just like, oh, hey, let me get some. And then that's when Howell pulled up, and he was like, nah, yo, that's my girl, that's actually my girl, that in fact wasn't his girl. And that's basically what got the two to meet. But that's what happened beforehand. And then after, basically, that's when she turned old. And that's what basically the entire lore starts, when basically the whole point, I don't even know if that was necessarily her whole goal, because she seemed like she was in completely different places throughout the entire movie. But the ultimatum was to get her to turn back to normal. So she was like, oh my god, I gotta look for Howell so I can turn back to normal. And then she found Howell, and then Howell was like, yo, who's this? Who's this, gang? And she was like, I'm actually the janitor. Howell was just like, oh, alright, bet. And then he just let her in. He just let her in the crib. She's just part of the gang. So, like, you know, while she's just here, she's just, they're going through adventures. She's finding out a lot about Howell. Howell is a toddler. He's a man-child. This dude's a man-child, alright? This man goes through one tantrum, and he literally turns into slime. He turns into freaking slime, alright? Overall, the entire movie, I personally think, is done well, alright? Howell's burden. The burden Howell is carrying trying to take care of everyone. And the burden Howell is carrying trying to, go through with his own grief. And not only that, everyone else, like the villain, our extremely detailed, ugly character, she has her own burden. She carries her own burden, which the movie is extremely good at showing us. It is extremely good at demonstrating how these characters feel, and it is extremely good at covering basically every single corner of the movie. For me, by the end of the movie, I was satisfied. I just didn't have any questions, and basically by the end of that, I was good. All right, I ate. I very much ate. All right. Personally, after that, after taking in all the scenery, after taking in all the fire character development, after taking in all the funniness, the craziness, the stupidity of the series, of the characters, of Howell's baby self. This is peak. This is peak. Alright, my hubba bubba, don't ask me no questions about the fit change or the hair change, but you're gonna see this happen from video to video. Oh, also, don't ask no questions about, I sort of dropped one of my builds while I was waking up in the morning. You know, we kind of need to rebuild. We kind of need to resurface. So how about we do a little intermission here and rebuild our guy back here. For you, it's gonna be a time lapse, but for me, this guy's gonna be working for a couple good minutes. So I'll be right back, y'all. And before you ask, yes, I have a baggie with all the instructions of all my builds. I don't know if y'all are gonna be like, good on you for that one, or bad on you for that one, but yeah, I have a list of all of my builds in this bag here. So let's get to it. Chat update. I think I lost one of the pieces. Give me a second. I found him. I think I need to clean my room. I got him, guys. I got him. Oh my god. Chat, we found the missing piece of our nether portal. Of our end portal. Alright, y'all. We're back. He's restored. We brought him back. He's back to life again. The happy old boy. He's back. He's back, y'all. The happy old boy that he was. In the end portal, ready for adventure. We did it. We brought him back. Anyways. Now that transition is over, let us go back to talking about Peak. Alright. Now, where were we just a couple seconds ago? Now, where were we?
Hell no, man. What the?
Alright, anyways, Panyanya. Alright. This movie, this movie was visually, personally, I'd say that this movie was visually the best one. It was visually capturing, and it was personally, for me, it was personally the best visually capturing film. The story was great. Characters on point. There was this one comment I saw about the dad. Let me give you a little background about what it was about. It's about this magical fish named Ponyo and this father. And this father is trying to take care of her daughter Fish. And he's worried about her daughter Fish because as she grows older, the main lore of this film is the fact that parents are always scared when their child grows up. And basically this dad was like that. He was scared for his child to grow up, so much so that he didn't want her to grow up. And he's basically tried his best to stop her from growing up, and basically tried to stop her from going into the outside world. And because of that, she rebelled. And there was this one Instagram comment I saw about this movie saying that, oh my gosh, I don't know why the dad was so antagonized in the movie. He was just trying to take care of his kid. Brother, at the end of the movie, the dad was an ally. The dad was no longer the villain. So clearly this person was watching the movie. I was just like, you know what? Yeah, backspace. We're done watching this movie. So clearly you didn't watch the whole movie, whoever that Instagram comment was. But eventually, as Ponyo is meeting this human, Ponyo eventually meets this human boy that eventually shows her the world in a way where in a child's perspective, the world in a child's perspective. And because Ponyo herself is a child, she basically enjoys herself around this kid. And it's pretty weird because the way that she turns fully human is by the characters. Her mother basically says, the human boy that Ponyo meets needs to confess his love for her. Mind you, this guy is like 5 years old, so like, confess his love, his eternal love. Dang, this dude is like 5 years old. What makes you think they're gonna have an argument and then like it's gonna be over? Like, but I guess they were just like, oh, he gotta confess his love, and then they're gonna be good. And he confessed his love, and she became human and lost all her magic abilities, and that was it. So, what do I think of it? It's enjoyable. It's an extremely enjoyable movie. The plot is on point, especially with my favorite character, surprisingly, is actually the dad, because he genuinely is the type of character. He feels like the most realistic. He's worried about his daughter. He personally is very worried about his daughter, and he's scared. He's in a position where I personally feel that any parent would be when it comes to watching their child grow up, and it's the fear of letting go, and he's basically in that position the entire movie. He's so scared of letting them go that he basically is constantly chasing after her, basically. And personally, I feel like he's my favorite character because he's like that. He's the most realistic in the sense that his fear of losing his child is just something that he eventually accepts at the end of the movie. And I personally think that the movie really developed him well, even if we haven't even seen him that much. Yeah, it was one of my favorite movies. Where am I putting this in the film? Where am I putting this in the tier list, though? Let's talk about that. Personally, this is peak. This one is a peak one. The visuals, personally, like I said, the reason why I say that this one is peak is because the visuals of this entire movie really, really carried this movie. It really, really did. The story was great. Don't get me wrong. The story was really good. But the visuals, yo, you gotta see it for yourself, man. The visuals were just, my God, yo, peak. All right. So this is one of my top 3 movies. There's only gonna be 3 on peak. So this is one of my top 3 movies. Not better than Howl's Moving Castle. The visuals in Howl's Moving Castle, personally, I think were great. But I wouldn't say that Ponyo makes it higher than Howl's Moving Castle, because I really love the visuals of Howl's Moving Castle as well. But the story of Howl's Moving Castle really just feels like its strength. It outweighs Ponyo's visuals by a bunch. Anyways, we're putting Ponyo right behind Howl's Moving Castle. Next, we got, this was one of my favorites. So, first we got Howl's Moving Castle, which visually and story-wise, I was very touched by that movie. Visually, I was very touched by Ponyo. But story-wise, from The Wind Rises, the story of The Wind Rises. My goodness, bro. The visuals are great. The visuals, oh my God, they are extremely good. All right. Don't get me wrong. The visuals do not need to be slept on. I'll talk about the visuals for a second. Just watching the visuals play out with such a slow-paced story is just magnifique. Because personally, if you're gonna do a slow-paced story, this movie is 2 hours, mind you. If you're gonna do a slow-paced story, these visuals better be on point. And the visuals were very much on point. So, respect on the visuals, firstly. But what I like about this movie, alright, what I really, really love about this movie is the story. Because, my God, the reference of history, the sheer references that this movie takes on history, on the history of planes, on the history of, not only that, their blueprints. I don't know if they were accurate, I don't know if they weren't, But goddamn, they really seemed like they did mad research for this movie. And I just had to appreciate that. I really just had to appreciate that. Because, holy, this movie is about a dude named Jiro Horikoshi. And this dude basically really loves planes. In the beginning of the movie, we get an idea of this dude having a dream. I love the dreams, bro. The dreams are so great. And not only that, oof, we're going to talk about the poetry in a second. But the dreams that go on throughout this movie are I feel like they're personally the visual peak of this movie. All right. But not only that, they are the poetry of this movie. The actual poetry of this movie. Because not only do they really show his passion, but they show... Yeah, actually, we'll use that word, this word. They show the sheer pinnacle of his passion via specifically who he's talking to in his dreams. The person that he's talking to in his dreams is named Giovanni Battista Caproni. And this man is an Italian aircraft designer that loves aircrafts. And because he just glazes aircrafts, it doesn't become apparent that he looks up through him throughout the movie, but it shows that he loves airplanes so much by showing that he just has that, I don't know, spiritual, he's just somehow interlinked. He's so passionate about planes that even in his dreams, he's interlinked with this dude. And throughout the story, you really get a good idea of this dude's passion through his dreams. That's what I love about this movie, because in real life, we get an idea of his love life. I wouldn't say it's side plot, because the story throughout this movie feels like it is sort of a wage between passion and love. And personally, I love movies like that, because I go through that like all the time. So yeah, this movie really, the story of this movie, I'm not gonna spoil it that much because you have to see it for yourself. The Wind Rises is peak. It's just the fact that throughout this entire movie, Jiro handles his dreams and his love life so well, and just seeing that, to me, really makes me idolize him as a person, because his dreams are going on. He's going with his dreams. He's going with his love life. His love life is getting intense, but that doesn't stop him from fulfilling his dreams. And not only that, he's pursuing his love life so much to the point where he puts down all his stuff for a moment, but then eventually he gets back up for his dream. But eventually he just goes through it. And not only that, this movie is actually dedicated to certain historical moments. There's a quote in the end of the movie that basically honors the people that this movie is in honor of. But yeah, just go see the movie for yourself. That movie is peak. All right. Next up, I actually completely forgot the name of this movie. Totoro! Oh my gosh, Totoro! Yo! Totoro! Bruh, oh my gosh. Totoro is pretty good. Totoro is a pretty good movie. And I'm gonna keep on calling him Totoro. If you say the movie is pronounced Totoro, I'm gonna have to kill you. But anyways, Totoro is pretty good. To me, it feels like one of those slow burns. Its plot isn't that deep. It revolves around childhood and childhood imagination. And the story basically revolves around this family that just moved into this home. And basically, It's not actually about the entire family. It's actually about these two siblings who are having fun and excited to move into this home. And turns out they think that the home is haunted. And it kind of is, because we get an idea of these creatures and all these different things. But it turns out that the adults kind of don't see it. And understandably, I think I know why. Because the film sort of, it becomes obvious over time that the film, it's about childhood. And basically just enjoying childhood. And basically, throughout the entire film, every single time, it's just, you usually just see a child in the scene. That's when da-da-da shows up. That's when that boy da-da-da shows up, alright? That's when he pulls up. I'm not gonna lie, bro. Da-da is mad scary, bro. With this big mouth, being like, bro, personally, I don't know about that being like my childhood thing, my childhood friend, but hey, they seem like they had like a great time with that childhood friend. Personally, I would not. All right, after seeing that big mouth, story personally is great. It feels like a slow burn. It's a I think it's a 2 or 1.5 hour movie. If it's another one of those movies that feel like a novel, all right. The plot isn't really that deep, and like I said, I like deep plots personally. I'm a guy who likes deep plots, and because of that, I'm putting this in chill, because the movie is pretty chill. Like I said, it's really enjoyable. If you want a movie that is enjoyable, and you want and you don't actually like plot that deep, whip out Totoro, bro. Go ahead and see Totoro and his gang and his cat bus. The only plot that really is there is their mom being sick. But what I really like is that it comes in the perspective of them as kids. And I'm saying this as in, like, them as kids, they're like, oh my gosh, our mom is sick and she's going to die. It's over. Oh my god. And it just turns out she has a cold. So, that I actually really like. That little detail I actually really like. I am actually putting this above Kiki's Delivery Service because of that. It was really, I personally think it was really, really smart for them to do that, to make it seem a lot bigger than what it was. Even the creatures that they were interacting with were like, oh my god, you want to see your mother? Oh, let's go! They even just blasted towards them. They did whatever they could just to get to her mother. And even her little sister treated it like it was, like her mother was genuinely going to die. Gang. Bro just had a cold. It was not that deep. It was and then turns out when we actually see it, it was in fact not that deep. The mom and the dad were just chilling. They were actually just talking. So yeah, that was sort of funny. But yeah. And lastly, we have our boy, our queer boy, our y'all, I'm not doing that, bro. We got our boy, Spirited Away. All right, Spirited Away is great, bro. It is not a slow burn. It is not peak though. I wouldn't say it is peak, and it is not a slow burn either. This movie, I feel like it is in between. I personally feel like this movie is fire. Alright, I personally feel like this movie is fire because the plot of this movie really felt more symbolic than anything else. To me, it didn't feel straightforward because it was about this girl who was working at a spiritual hotel, and eventually we find this one guy who's weird as hell, who does and eventually, as we get to know this person becomes greedy and stuff like that. I really just feel like this movie is based off a lot of folklore that I need to do research on before I could even watch this movie again. Because I know that this movie probably is based on a lot of morality, but before I could even understand the morality, I also need to understand the symbolism of folklore that this is about. Because not only is this about folklore, not only is this about morals, this story takes place in a spiritual realm behind a world of animals and different type of beings and all different type of species, with a witch that completely, I don't know if she controls everything, but I personally feel like, because this movie is really, really enjoyable and the lore is really deep, but personally I feel like there's really not that much I could say about this movie, because I really feel like I need to do a lot more research before I actually rewatch this movie. Because personally I feel like I should rewatch it, but there is a lot in this movie that is really deep that I need context for. And the reason why I personally feel I wouldn't personally say that this movie is peak is because I personally feel like I need context for it. If you need context, I'm gonna say this right now. If you need context for a movie before you watch it, it's not a good movie. Alright? Why? Because why would you need context before you watch a movie? Alright? If there's a prequel, then perfect. There's the context right there. This is a prequel movie. There's the context right there. But if I need context before I watch the prequel and there is no context for that prequel, that's not a good movie, gang. And don't get me wrong, I'm not saying Spirited Away is not a good movie. Because Spirited Away is about a bunch of folklore and stuff like that. So there is context. There is context. I just need to do the research for it. So I got homework. So yeah. But yeah, Spirited Away is a very enjoyable movie. It's very, very detailed. Its scenery is very, very detailed. That I could say with 100% certainty. If you look at the hotel or spa place that they have, you could see how many different characters, even the background characters, are all different. They're all detailed, different. They're all special in their own way. This is how I feel about Studio Gibbs, alright? Studio Gibbs, they got their slow burns. Studio Gibbs got their symbolisms, and they got their peaks, alright? So at the end of the day, this is how I feel about it. And if you got a problem, and if you have your own opinion, actually, you're factually incorrect. And if you personally think that this movie is better than the other, I gotta say, buddy, you're still factually incorrect. Speaking of which, anyways, but yeah, this is how I feel. And if you subscribe, and I hope you enjoy. Have a nice, go eat something, go do something. I'm probably gonna take a nap again. I took a nap before before my shirt change. I'm gonna take a nap again. I got a lot of editing to do after this, so that's fun. 2 videos actually releasing. I wouldn't consider it a double upload. These videos are releasing day after day. So one is gonna be releasing in the middle of the week. The other one is gonna be releasing in the weekend. So yeah. But I hope you enjoyed this video. All right. I hope you enjoyed my tier list, my yapping. All right. If you have any other anime movies to suggest for me that I should see, Let me know down in the comments. All right, go do something. Go eat something. Go use the bathroom or something. I don't know. Peace.